What's up, guys? Welcome to Breaking Walls, episode number 42. My name is James Scully. Today on Breaking Walls, we usher in the month of fear, aka October, with a chat with Staten Island hip-hop MC Brodie Jaymz. I had Brodie on the podcast last October where we spoke about what the music industry is so afraid of in episode number 26 of Breaking Walls. Today, I sit down with Brodie 1 year later to talk about some of the things that he's gone through, some of the fears that he's confronted in the last year since he's put out a full-length LP and a pretty strong, long EP at that as well. We've reached the middle of October. Here in New York, temperatures are dropping, leaves are turning, other than that 10-day stretch of rain with no sun. The weather's been beautiful, and as I always say, you can get these podcasts by going to soundcloud.com/the WallBreakers. You can also find us on iTunes by searching for the WallBreakers. If you're going to do either of those things, especially on iTunes, please rate us, review, tell a friend, tell two friends. Word of mouth spreads these podcasts around. For me personally, I've got some good stuff in the hopper. Just finished the first draft of a manuscript that I've been working on since the end of February of this year. And as we head into the last couple of months of 2016, I'm gearing up for as many big things as I could possibly get my hands on. I hope you guys are too, or whatever you're doing. I hope you feel satisfied. I hope you're progressing on a daily or weekly basis. And I'm not going to take up any more time. I want you to get right into this interview and stay tuned for a chat with me and Brodie Jaymz here on Breaking Walls, episode number 42. What's up, guys? Back on Breaking Walls. My guest today is Brodie Jaymz, Staten Island MC.
What's going on?
And rather than Brodie come to me, this time we're going to his house in the recording studio here in Staten Island. And with it being October, the topic here on the WallBreakers this month is fear. And that has a lot to do with things that we're afraid of, breaking through those fears. And I sat down with Brodie last year in October.
A year to the date?
A year to the date,
that we released the first one.
Absolutely. About, at the time it was, what's the industry so afraid of, the music industry? As a Staten Island recording artist, at that moment, Brodie, last year, you put out Dark Side of the Stars, an EP. So let's pick it up a year later. There's been a year's worth of learning lessons for you and things like that. I like to say, let's say like last time you and I talked was 365 days ago. I've had 365 learning lessons since then.
True.
So in the time since people have heard your voice on Breaking Walls, you put out Dark Side of the Stars.
Yes.
What was the reception that you were expecting when you released Dark Side of the Stars? What were you hoping for? What was it? What were some of the learning lessons that you took away from that?
I enjoyed releasing the album. I had a lot of fun, like I told you guys last time. I had a good time making the album. It took me a little bit longer than I would like on anything, really. But it was my baby. It was my project. I feel like it was received in a good way. I did good visuals to it. But, as a rapper in hip hop, you always feel it a little bit. I stuck out of my comfort zone to make, pop music and R&B, which is not bad. I enjoy it. It's not that it's, a comfort zone for me, but I enjoy rapping. It's what I started doing. So I kind of felt like, everyone that enjoyed it was people that just enjoyed, the actual pop music, the R&B stuff. What I missed a little bit, what I felt from it was a little bit more of the hip hop side, which, stuff that like my boys can, knock in there, because I didn't want to be, bumping, Undone down, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not that kind of jam, That's part of the reason why I made Is This What You Want? The sound, sonically, was more or less to, just make it a little bit more hip hop. Just, I wanted to put the bars back in there, you know what I mean? Like,
but when we spoke last year, we talked about Dark Side of the Stars, and I said at the time I felt like it was like a late night cruising album. It was the kind of thing, and specifically, well, maybe it's because we're both from New York, but specifically it felt like a New York late night cruising album, something that I would drive around with through the streets of New York late at night. Which, maybe you bump something hard every once in a while when you're driving around like that, but for the most part, when you're cruising like that, it's gonna be a little bit, like you said, sonically a little bit more electronic, or it's gonna have that dreamy type feel to it, which it was a story in the sense, Dark Side of the Stars. From the title itself to the title track, Here We Go, to the way that the album picks up in the second half, it very much was a story that you put
I try and do that with every album. Like that's kind of like the goal. Like now people are making movies to their albums. You know what I'm saying? Like you see Frank Ocean, you see Beyonce, Drake just did one. Please forgive me. People are making movies to their albums,
right?
Which is good. It's like you want to do it. I mean, you don't want to carbon copy anybody, but it's a great way to bring the music to life.
Yeah. Because
a lot of your favorite music you hear in movies and things like that. Those are the things that always bring you back to a certain time, which I feel like is awesome. I'm cool with that.
The more you release stuff, you said that you spent a lot of time on Dark Side of the Stars. Does it become easier to be like less precious with things the more you release something? Is it easier for you to say like, okay, it's enough now, let's put it out? Like, does it become easier to know like, have I spent enough time on this?
Oh yeah, it was the process.
Go?
I know, and Joey knows too. Like if he was here, he'll tell you. Like when it was Dark Side of the Stars, there would be days I would come in here and I would let him mix for 3 hours. I wouldn't even record anything. I would sit here and, just chill and watch him mix and throw a little bit of input on him. I trust him. I love my music more, but I trust him more than anything in the world. And he kind of guided me through that process. There was a couple times, and Reb knows too. Like I want to put shit out, bro. You know what I mean? I want to put things out. I want it to be out there. I make too much to hold it back. You know what I mean? I don't make one song and rock out, or a couple songs and like strategize around those. No, I make full albums, bro. And then I do with, what I please. And the loose ones go to the end. And that's pretty much it. But
also, I think what you're saying is that by exercising these songs and putting them out there, in some ways it allows you to move on from something too, in a way. Like Dark Side of the Stars came out in October 2015. Yeah. It's October 2016. That's in the past now. You're ready to go do something else. You dropped
already had something else.
Right, and now you're going to do something else. Like...
That was because I spent so long making Dark Side of the Stars that I didn't write in that amount of time. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, just what I just told you, I spent more time with him mixing it, hours upon end than... I wasn't writing. I wasn't making new material like I always like to. So that's how Is This What You Want came about. Because after I was done putting out the album, I was like, I gotta write. Right. I gotta get back in there. I gotta, now I want to hit him with the bars. Now I want to. It was that fierceness that, and that's just how it goes, man. That's. I feel like that. It's like that with a lot of people. It's so much to make something that when you make something, whether you should have spent more time on it or whatever, the fact that it's done is just, some people are just good at that, you know what I mean? And that's the piece. That's...
it's almost like, let's say you're cooking something in the oven, a piece of food, and you spend like 12 hours on it. By the time that moment comes where it's done, you're like, I don't even want this anymore. Because you spent so long on
absolutely.
it, you're ready to move
on
to
something else. And you picked on a million things.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's true. You lost the appetite. Yeah, so eventually you do have to put something out. And Thanks. I'm also wondering, you closed Dark Side of the Stars with Make Me Famous, which is sonically, it's almost like the album ends before that, and then you have this epilogue track on the end of it that's kind of like, I said it last year, it's like at the end of a TV season, a new villain's got to show up so that it gets you hooked again.
But I didn't know that I was going to go the way I went with Is This What You Want? I didn't know I was going to come out and be aggressive like Make Me Famous. I just knew Make Me Famous was one of the last things I made for Dark Side of the Stars. As Joe, I was like, I need something to like cap it off the way I did with every other album, and I had that beat, and I was like, all right, it's good enough. I know it'll fit because sonically, what I'm saying, the guitar's there, it's melodic, it's a little bit more rapping than everything else, but it's at the end. It's not like something you have to fit in the middle or be like, am I gonna open it with this? Like I did with Here We Go. That was such a clutch opening song, even from the tape popping. You know what I mean? That was my shit. If it was anything certain about Dark Side of Stars, it was that Here We Go was gonna be the first song.
Right. Yeah, and you said that from like you made that long before Dark Side of the Stars.
2013. I mean,
right, and you knew it was gonna be a #1 track on something, on a project that you hadn't even begun yet.
Absolutely.
With Make Me Famous. I was just talking to Reb over here, who's behind the camera right now, earlier when we were in the car on the way over here, about sometimes the frustration is, you want something already. And I think I might be ready for something in my life right now, but the fact is that if it comes in 6 months, I'll be that much more ready for something that comes, because you just got to live life like that. Yeah. And Make Me Famous, by the title of the song itself, Make Me Famous, but in general, there's a lot of angst in that song where you're basically pissed off.
It's a little cocky, right?
It's a little cocky, but I also hear the fact that you're like, motherfucker, I put in this much work. How much more work do I possibly need to put in before somebody looks at me and goes, yo, You know,
This kid's alright, like,
not even somebody, because people are looking at you. We're more people, you know.
Yeah, the masses, bro. That's what everybody wants. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in their head is like, oh, I'm the best. I should be there, you know. And if you don't think like that, then this is not the fuck you should be doing.
Right.
Or you shouldn't be putting that much time and energy into yourself just to boast yourself up a little bit before you decide, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to fucking live life. Like, you know? No way.
But at the same time, we're talking about you being a dude from Staten Island, and we know, we've talked about it, Staten Island doesn't really get the respect from the rest of New York City even that maybe it deserves, you know what I mean? And we joked about it last year, you know, everybody hates on Staten Island, but yet everybody who wants to buy a house is moving out to Staten Island.
But do they, I mean, as far as musically, but like, do they deserve it though?
Well, I think what you're saying
That's how I feel about it.
But what you're also saying, I think, is if they don't, let's give them some reason to deserve
I'm going
it. You know
to.
what I mean? Like, you're repping your hometown.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Is This What You Want is all about coming from Staten Island and the things that you might be dealing with on a Friday and Saturday night, just cruising around or on a weekly basis. Now, did you have Is This What You Want? Was it already something that you were working through towards the end of when you were putting out Dark Side of the Stars? Was this something that was already in your mind?
No. Actually, I finished Dark Side of the Stars, and then, like, the day after I released it and everything was out and the videos were out, I was like, oh, I want to write again. So usually what I do is I come up with every album. Too, Rebel's seen it. There's probably a lot of albums that have never come out that Reb has seen the title for. It's got tracks on it and everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I do. I love to sculpt. I love to pick the beat. And I'll tell you, I'll tell everybody too, how I do. I pick the beats. You know what I mean? I'll pick the production. I'll sift through productions, thousands of beats and shit. Or it'll take, you know, sometimes it'll just be what hits me on a Saturday morning when I wake up and I know I'm coming here for 3 hours. It's like, all right, let me just piece together something I had. You know what I'm saying? How am I feeling today? Am I in the mood to, am I in a World on Fire mood? Am I in a No Mystique mood? You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of how I'll go about it. But with the production of the albums, I'll tailor the beats to a certain sound, figure out how many tracks I want it to be, keep it at that amount of tracks, and then just write to that. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm 3 or 4 songs into, you know, the next one. I'm not gonna rock out like the name. I said I wasn't gonna put, like, you know, titles and dates and stuff out there yet. But it's pretty much, you know, it's good, and anybody that knows how I work knows it'll be, you know, even quicker to wrap up. And that's why I released World on Fire. I wanted to start getting videos out to, you know, Is This What You Want, to Dark Side of the Stars, because what I'm working on next is always something better. So, and I want to make sure that I'm finally, like, caught up on it. I don't want to be, like, releasing videos for stuff that I did, but I finally want to be caught up. I want to be like, all right, well, releasing this project, you have all the stuff from the past, and now this is, you know, the next chapter of TMJ going forward.
In talking about Is This What You Want, you know, Dark Side of Stars is a very self-reflective album. And I remember you even saying a lot of it is you talking to yourself and things like that. I feel like Is This What You Want, as in, you know, a long EP, is an offensively directed album. You know, is this what you want? You know, who's the you, and is this what you want? It's angry. There's a little bit of
hostility.
There's hostility there.
I know there is.
So where does that come from? Is it coming from either frustrations after releasing the last album? Where's the hostility coming from in that?
I think just in the way that music is going, I think that was more of the frustration in it. It was just like, it, you know, it seemed like at a point where it's like, they don't want good music.
Well, what do they want?
They want the aggressive stuff. They want, like, you know, the trap-ish, you know, what I feels like is not worthy to be called music. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not here to shit on anyone's dreams, but I'm saying it's just not acceptable, my man. You know what I mean? Like, some things that you hear and some people, I'm not even going to name artists, but they know this. Everyone that's going to listen is going to know the sound that I'm talking about. You know, constant repeating the same words. There's no message in it. People yelling on the track. Like, it's, like, annoying, man. It's like, you know, put some dignity back into what you do. You know what I mean? Be able to show your parents or your grandparents what it is that you're doing, and them not look at you and be like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Not because it's musically or for the production it sounds different or it's a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, bass heavy. Content. Exactly. I mean, and, yo, not everyone's going to have, like, a clean point of view out of life. Some people do rap about other things. But even 50 found a way to turn street music and whatever it is into being presentable. You know what I'm saying? Legible. You know, you can hear what the words that people are saying. There's structure in the bars. You know what I mean? It rhymes. That's the key. That'd be a nice one.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, bro.
Isn't
you know?
Supposed to rhyme?
Exactly. I'm like,
But with Is This What You Want, as an offensively directed, you know, track, I kind of feel like in a lot of ways you're putting Staten Island on your back a little bit too, because some of the offense there is also, in my opinion, about Staten Island not getting any kind of respect for anything. And you, as an artist, are coming up out of Staten Island trying to make a name for yourself. You know, as a person, I feel like we got to start with what's around us. So, like, you start with the block, then you go with the neighborhood, then you go with the borough, you know, and you build out that way. And you know, you talk a lot about what it's like to grow up in Staten Island. And, you know, for people that don't know, I was at, maybe this was like May. I was at my grandparents' house in Staten Island here, and the cover of the Staten Island Advance, a very, very well-respected newspaper, it said on the cover...
that didn't nominate me for Best Hip Hop Artist.
Oh,
so
man.
Fuck you.
Oh,
and you nominated people that don't really even make music, so fuck you again.
My apologies.
It's okay.
Why I was reading the Staten Island Advance was just because on the cover, a girl had OD'd in a bathroom of like a nice restaurant, or like, you know, a middle range, like where you go for lunch kind of restaurant. And it was like, if this was May, you know, it was like the 29th or something like that, some really high number. Public, it had to be public because how else would they know? Overdose. And it was like the beginning of May. And I was looking at it going, man, you know, like, that's a lot. That's a lot of public for a place where there's like 400,000 people.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a lot.
At the same time, I saw that after Detroit, Michigan, which is an entire city with like, you know, whatever, I think it's like 900,000 people, give or take, in Detroit right now.
That's not bad.
They have the highest heroin issue in the entire country of a major metropolitan area. And Staten Island is number 2 on that
Of course
list.
it is. That's why I put it in. It was like, listen, I'm a sarcastic fuck. I made this. If I'm telling you, is this what you want? It's because I'm, you know, being sarcastic as fuck, bro. I'm giving you what I feel like, you know, music should be, man. You can keep I feel like you keep a lot of the same production, but the content that you put in, I feel like people, like I told you last year too, you have people that have the ability to reach hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people with your music. Then what the fuck are you really talking about? You know what I mean? If anyone has any change in this fucking country, it's musicians, it's celebrity, you know what I mean? And it's just, it's like a bad example, man. And the problem is that now everyone that's coming up, they want younger kids. You know what I'm saying? Like the younger
with no life
crowd.
Experience.
Exactly.
16-year-olds leading another 16-year-olds ain't gonna work.
Exactly. That's not gonna work at all. It's like, oh, you're fucking up. I'm gonna fuck up too. Cool. You know what I mean? It's whatever. You be young. Enjoy the youth. You know what I'm saying? I did. Shit, I did. But I grow up sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem too, because I'm noticing, you know, we're getting into our later 20s. I'll be 30 soon. I'll tell you a funny story. I was standing on a train platform. This will all remain nameless, obviously. I'm standing on a train platform about 2-3 weeks ago in the morning, and I see a kid that I went to high school with that I got into a fight with in high school, and then we were cool after that. Like, we weren't best friends, but we were, like, you know, shit was cool. It was whatever. And he had sunglasses on. This is inside on a train platform in the morning. It's like 8:45, with the book bag slung over one shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, and he was grilling me as he's walking by, as if we were like 14 again, or as if we weren't. We had him in cool after that for like.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I kind of like looked at him, and at first I didn't really know how to take it, other than I was just kind of like, bro, shouldn't you be like a dad right now? You know, like that's how I felt. Like, yeah, really, like, yo, we're long out of high school. I feel like, you know, like I'm just talking about my opinion now. So you correct me if I'm wrong. I think some of that frustration that you have is in some ways directed towards the place where you come from. Like you just said, does it deserve the respect? Is this what you want? Maybe you're a little bit mad about Staten Island being the kind of places where dudes our age are just fucking around, wasting time, and you're just
in your life, like, it's not a funny thing, man.
So, to make a long story short, with all of that frustration, from what I'm seeing, places like Fort George, that's on the come up right now. That's the next real estate, like with everybody, the Hawkeyes are looking at that.
Bridge?
Yeah, absolutely, right under the bridge. And then if you go towards the Jersey side, if you keep going that way, they're putting the Ferris wheel in there. They want to put high-priced condominiums.
No, 100%.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's not really putting any money in my pocket, so it's not. I don't really have a feeling about it. But it'll be great for the island. It'll be great for tourism. It might actually suck for the island. And I can't really speak on this. I don't drive, but I know everybody bitches about traffic. I feel like it's going to fuck that up a little bit, too. You know what I mean? That's probably why they're building more, you know, on the freeway, and they should, and they better. because it's gonna be like they're gonna make a pig's breakfast of this whole thing, and people are gonna be getting to work 2-3 hours late, bro. Like, you know, like I could see it already. Absolutely, I live on the South Shore, man. I lived on the North Shore my whole life, and then, you know, 2 or 3 years ago, I moved out to the South, and there's not really much, you know what I'm saying, going on. It's like peaceful. I walk out of the house, I smell the beach, so, you know, go to work. That's all I really ask for, man.
You said something really interesting when I just said to you, and you said it's not really putting any money in my pocket. No. And I think that's a good point of view, because those who want to come in and real estate development, things like that, they don't care who's currently living here. Things like that. No. You're just, you know, fodder to be moved aside.
Yo, this guy's crazy.
But no, it should be. Yo, I mean, I've seen it in Brooklyn, man. I come from. It happened in my hometown first, and you got to roll with those punches too, because that's life, that's evolution, blah blah blah. So maybe in a good way, an extra, you know, set of eyes on Staten Island is going to be good for you musically, and, you know, to get more, you're trying to get more people, you know, so the more people that come here, the larger the chance that you can do something with that.
That's fine, and I think about that, but it's going to be concentrated, you know what I mean, like to one area, and I feel like anytime you concentrate something to one thing, you don't give anything, you know, room to grow. It's going to be that, and then it's almost going to be like, you know, it'll be cool. Listen, for a good year, I'll say year and a half, because we live in a forget-me-not world, it's going to be the best thing ever. But after a while, just like anything else, it's almost like you're going to enjoy Christmas if it was every day.
Right.
No,
right.
You're not. Would you enjoy Brock Lesnar if he wrestled every Monday night? You know what I'm saying? No, he wrestles like twice a year. Why? And it's the shit. And what does he do? He faces The Undertaker. Like, things like that are good, but after a while, they get old. I mean, I'm happy that, you know, other generations will be able to grow up with things like that. I feel like they should have did it at South Beach, because then you could have at least incorporated more of, like, the island, the beach. You could have, you know, set up, you know, hotels and homes and made it almost like our version of the Jersey Shore. It's fine, you want to put it by Manhattan, but, you know, it's you're cluttering up one area of the island, and, you know, and even people that live over there, you know what I mean? Now you're bringing more traffic that way, and it's already a bitch to even get on the ferry. Or get in the ferry or park over there. It's horrible. But
what you got right now is the insider's perspective. And you're talking about outsiders coming in, not doing their homework and things like that. And I think there's similarities there between what's going on musically and what's not. We talked last year about, you know, the reason why you're an independent artist is there's a lot of reasons for it. And one of it is that, you know, music, large music companies these days, it's not enough for you to just be talented. They want you coming talented with 1 million followers at the same time, because they're not making the kind of money they used to make.
No, absolutely. But it's smart business. You can't really be mad at that.
No.
You should have to work to get to where the fuck you want to be. You know what I mean? It shouldn't just be like, oh, you're a talented guy. You know what I'm saying? Let's scoop you up. We'll give you $1 million. You can record your album. No, you really need to do that. You know what I mean? I recorded a perfectly beautiful mastered album, 2 of them here by myself, with great quality videos, with good press and media and good promotion and coverage and stuff like that. You could do anything you want to. You would prefer to be with label, but would you?
Well, let me ask you then. Now, if you had, you know, all things considered, 2 baskets, one, you doing it all on your own and making the same kind of dough and the same kind of connections that you would if you were signed to a record label, which one is it? Like, if you had the choice between exactly the same, doing it on your own and it's going to be the same level of success, or signing with a larger label, which one would you do?
You need that platform, Scully. I don't care what anybody says. And the people that don't, the people that come up independent, the people that make, you know, that one song, you know how many times now we have, Reb, how many one-hit guys now do we have in the last, like, year and a half? You got Bobby Shmurda, they got this girl, Young Ma, she's coming up. All the shit is fire. I love the fact that it's bubbling for New York music, but there's nothing ever after that. Why? Because they're not making records.
Right.
They're not,
they don't have the money to make a record?
They don't have the right direction. When you come independent like yourself, you're dealing with people around you, a bunch of yes men, fucking idiots. You know what I mean? Oh, that sounds fire. You're spinning fire. Yeah, but, like, can they play that? Because that's what's going to make people listen to your music. Can they play that? Yeah, they'll play that. 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning.
If you get the opportunity to, it sounds to me that you're interested in signing with a record label if you could make it. Because we talked about 50 a second ago.
Absolutely.
Before Get Rich or Die Trying, you know, he put out Power of the Dollar. He put out all, and now people in retrospect, people like, that's fire. At the time,
exactly.
Nobody bought Infinite when Eminem put that out. Nobody cared.
They didn't. But they bought the Slim Shady LP.
Right. And that's because he had Dre promoting.
Exactly. You need that. So listen, this is a prideful thing that we do. But sometimes you have to have no pride in things like this. Like, so, yo, trust me, I go in everything alone, bro. It's just how I am naturally as a person. I go in everything alone. But sometimes you need help, bro. Sometimes you need that fucking pick-me-up. Sometimes you need that push. Do you want to give a label 10 albums? Probably not. You want to be able to make the music you want to make, enjoy your height, enjoy your time, your prime, and then give yourself the freedom to be able to make the music you want to make for the rest of your life. You know, and that's, you do that with a label. I can't wait to make an album for the label. You know what I mean? Like, I love doing this shit here. Like, you want to give me give me $100,000. Look at the music I'm making, paying him to record me and doing the shit myself. Could you imagine if they put me in $1 million studio?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Top-notch producers that I wouldn't even need.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a lot of the thing. That's a lot of the reason why people get fucked too, because you need so much of a signing bonus. People need to live that kind of life, or you know what I'm saying. You need an advance to make the album.
And then you're in the hole already.
Yeah, I don't need to make it. I don't need an advance to make an album. I'll make the album.
Right.
Like a fire ass album. Fucking, you don't even give me $1.
But what you said a minute ago about, you know, you're the kind of guy who goes in alone and does things, and I think, you know, we spoke last year a little bit about your upbringing in the sense that you lost your mom, you lost your dad. You know, you had other strong ties with you, but that's gonna make a guy be more apt to go alone and do things. Because, you know, I got me.
My sister's telling me lately, like, my older sister, she was like, you know, this is why you are the way you are. This is why you go, and it suits you. You know, she was like, you're just the number one. You know what I mean? Like, it's just how you are. I can't help it. I love everybody around me. You know what I mean? I feel better.
Well, my grandmother once gave me a bit of advice, and she said, you can't be all things to all people. And it's very true. You got to be for you first.
Yeah.
And not to the point where, you know, you're scorching the earth around you, because then everybody's like, well, fuck this motherfucker. You know,
absolutely.
And you make enemies then, and it's your own fault.
You'll make enemies anyway, trust me.
Right, exactly. But, so
even being the good guy, you'd get enemies.
Yeah, man. What you were just saying about sometimes you need that help. You know, we're talking about fear a little bit, and vulnerability is something that I harp on a lot, because for myself, I know it, that without that, you can't get anywhere. Like, if you couldn't ask for help, eventually you would need it, and it would crush you because you didn't ask for it if you needed it. In the last year of your life, since Dark Side of Stars came out, you put out Is This What You Want? So we're talking 2 music projects basically in a year that have come to fruition. You're going to hear critics, both positive and negative. It's just the way it is. What are they saying? How much of that do you have to take for yourself and listen to? Because some of it's got to be, there's truth in everything. How much of it is noise? Or you know, sometimes the people that we're most close with, sometimes people talk shit. You know, sometimes our family or our friends, they want what's best for us, but they're not in our heads. So we think we have the best idea of what's best for ourselves. In the last year of your life, musically, what are people saying? Where do you want to go next?
That's what they're saying to me, man. It's almost like I gotta just make that transformation into the PG world. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what I want to do, and that's the next thing. It's just I can't help but to rap and make, you know, hip hop music. It's, you know, it's a split. I have half the people, like, there's people like JJ and like Bartley, you know, Dwayne, that love the pop music that I do. You know what I'm saying? That my boys like, yo, Brodie, I drive, even my boy Bartley's like, yo, I drive around Brooklyn, I bump a lot of the songs. He bumps Dark Side of Stars, he bumps, and at first because of his appreciation for Dark Side of Stars, he didn't necessarily, I don't say he didn't like Is This What You Want, but he texted me and he said, yo, Brodie, you know, I gotta get used to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me some time with it. Because, you know me, I'm like, bro, let me know what you think. You know what I'm saying? It's a new album. And he texts me and he's like, give me time with it. I want to say, like, a week later, he texts me, Underdog is fire. That's my joint. He's like, but you messed up. He's like, you gave the people, you fucked up. You gave the people 2 interludes and 5 songs. He's like, everything. Like, the first one was short. He's like, you gave us the 1.5 minutes spinning flames. You know what I mean? Like, but everything else around there, you know, was pretty good. No Mystique grew on him after time. And then I want to say, like, 3 weeks later, he was at the gym. He texted me. He's like, yo, this is the new workout song. You know what I mean? So, and it takes like that. When someone listens to an album, when you listen to an album, you're not like, oh, every song's my favorite joint. You know what I mean? When you truly love an artist, you sift through it. You pick the songs you like because of what you're used to hearing from them. And you're like, oh, what did they improve in on this, you know? And that's how you go about enjoying an album. There's some songs you like 6 months after an album drops. You're like, oh, this is a joint. Why? Because you didn't listen to it as much as you listened to the ones that you liked at first so many fucking times for the next 3 months. So
I think even as an artist myself, something that I have to remember is even when people are critical or if they praise you or whatever, there's parts that it's the truth according to them at that moment. So like you're saying, you didn't listen to that 6 months down the road or 6 months earlier. Or you were in a different headspace then, so you couldn't possibly appreciate this particular track. But then you grew a little, or you changed your lane.
Something happened in your life, and
then
you heard it.
You connected with it. And,
absolutely.
And you said, to me last year about some people, they tell you, you should put out one song a year and just push that and push that and push that.
You could do that.
You could do that, but how could music that you've already released grow on people if you don't continuously give them a catalog to choose from?
That's kind of how I feel. You would be surprised. I mean, they don't pay you a lot, from your stream sales and anything, but you would be shocked. I'm shocked when all the numbers come in quarterly about people, because now I have 20 songs on Spotify. You get what I'm saying? Like, now you have a catalog there. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, it's just, it's Dark Side of the Stars, which is cool. It's 12 songs, which is a lot. I got Nobody's on there with Mr. Ease. I Don't Know How You Feel with him and Jason Adams. I have Breathe was out there as a single until I put it on. It's literally just fits so nice at the end. Just kind of like make me famous. Mm-hmm. And I'm bringing Lost in Love and One Night Only and the other songs gradually onto that platform as singles, like in time, just because they need to be in people's rotation, because those are songs that I play a lot on SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of plays on there, so I want to definitely put them in rotation. And, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I like the fact that there's a whole catalog there, and I'm looking forward to it too. I got another 7 songs coming. So. And
we talked last year, and one of the things you said was, I think it's something that you start to learn, after having some experience, is that you just got to do shit. Like, you can't put out... you don't have a catalog of 20 songs until you have 20 songs. You put out one song, you put out a second song, and a third, and eventually you got 20 songs to do.
Are you talking about like releasing them?
No, I'm just talking about in general.
You're moving on snail's pace, my man. We can't do that. I can't live like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So then, you said you're working on some stuff now.
Yeah.
This is a good one. If you want to take, let's say we're in October right now, you got October, November, December left in 2016, going into 2017. What's on deck? What haven't you even done yet that you've already in your head been like?
This album is on deck, top of the year. At least, you know what I'm saying? I'm not... confidently, I want to tell you, Scully, this thing could be out like in 6 weeks, because it can. And my goal is trying to have another one out for the holiday time. But I might do something different with Jason Adams for the holiday season. Something a little bit different that you've never seen from us. That you really don't see from a hip-hop artist ever.
Cool.
You know what I mean? Bringing the Christmas cheer back into it. You know what I'm saying?
Why not, right?
And Maddie's excellent. Maddie does, excellent R&B work, so I can kind of... I can make a different kind of track, you know what I'm saying, that he's going to be on it. I can sift for a different kind of instrumental, bring a different kind of mood. And I know he's, he loves doing things like that too. Shout out to Jason Adams, absolutely. But I think my instinct, Scully, I always want to just give it out to the world. But, someone close to me said, yo, Brodie, craft it. Don't take 2 years again to craft it, but take the extra couple months. You know what I mean? I recorded Is This What You Want? Ask Joey within 3 weeks. Even asked Rebel. I'm sure he came to the crib one day and I was like, yo, Rebel, I got the next one, I'm saying, done. I popped it in, and he's like, the fuck, bro?
He's like, I just left you an hour ago.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, and I was just like, but I did that so quick because I learned the process with Joey. Because of what he told me to talk, so I was, yo, Brodie, spend the time, listen to everything. By the time I got to Is This What You Want, I was already used to that process with him, so we did everything. We banged out in a good 3 weeks. I want to say.
I even like then you got the one that you took a really long time on, and you got the one that it was like the overflow of the emotions that you put in. Coming out of that, you put it out, you wanted it out, and now you're the next one. It's the middle ground after that. You find the balance. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What are you looking to plug today for people then?
The World on Fire video.
Okay.
That's a dope,
dope track. That is, I will tell you. On Dark Side of Stars, it is my favorite song on that track.
Yo, it's the most streamed. When you go into my Spotify and you go into the Brodie Jaymz Spotify page, it gives you top songs and it's on there. It's like No Mystique, World on Fire, Best Thing Ever. Nobody's is up there because it's new. You know what I mean? And it's been in good rotation. But that's the top song. You know what I mean? And I already did the interludes video. Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
To Best Thing Ever and The Other Side.
Yep.
And I enjoyed that. That was another 6 in the morning. the girl that I had hired to be in the past tense video had bailed on me, so I'm like, shit, now I don't even really have a girl. So I called the director, and he's like, oh, Brodie, I blocked out the day to shoot. These people don't play. You pay them, you know what I'm saying? It's business.
Yeah, it's business.
So I was like, you know what? I could do something. I was listening to the album. I said, you know what? I knew that this another guy, David Torrey, that I knew, he's, for Dock Street Records. He had a beautiful 3-floor loft apartment. So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, location wise, what can I do? And I knew that he would have okay to let me use it. At that time, I called the director. I said, come up here. And then we went up to the top floor. It's beautiful. It's open windows. Anyone sees the video for the interludes. Yep. He called a girl that was excellent, Ginger Rose. She was on time, prepared, beautiful, ready to go. Act like excellent, professional. Gatsby's on the bay. Let us use, the bar because Sammy's awesome. And I kind of just walked in there the second time and was like, oh, Sammy, I kind of want to shoot a music video. And he was like, all right, Brodie. He's got people in there eating gourmet meals, whatever, and I'm sitting here playing Best Thing Ever on a little speakerphone and at his bar. But those are the things that, you think back on and you appreciate. With this one, what I kind of want to do is take the time, to make sure that the visuals are proper before I start, promoting anything. I want to have more of it. I want to have like 2 or 3 of the videos done because then I can time them out and, maybe every month and a half drop them. And then, I feel like I'll finally be caught up. But I think I'm going to take the next 3 months and do visuals to the 2 that are out.
So if people want to check out Brodie Jaymz, spell out for them just in case they can't spell what the social media handles are for you.
Oh, everything at Brodie Jaymz. BRODIE
And that's Instagram,
Twitter, Facebook. I mean, there's the ads, you know what
YouTube.
I mean? Like, everything.
Usual stuff?
Yeah, everything Brodie Jaymz.
Cool.
There's an extra SoundCloud page with remixes on it, and that's my James.
Cool.
THATSMYJAYMZ. For some remixes and other, bonus material. I try and keep everything, like,
and I'll have all this stuff in links on the page for anybody who wants to check this stuff out. They'll be able to
definitely.
click
Actually, at the end of the video, I'll put everything there for you guys. I'll make sure it's all there, all the visuals.
Fantastic.
Maybe some, preview of the next music video.
Any parting thoughts that you want to say, or are we good?
We're pretty much good. I think we're all right. Did you feel I feel like we did this good again. See what happens with the process? Like last time we did it, and then we came back and we were like, oh, we already know how we're gonna do it. And you're a professional. I love working with you. The questions, awesome. You bring out the life, the music. I'm good, buddy. And shout out to Rebel.
Awesome.
Once and all. Actually, a couple shout outs. Shout out Rebel. Shout out Pepper, JJ. My boy Nicky Wiener, Jay Wills, Anthony DeMola, everybody. Jay Axe, shout out to everybody, man. Caesar, everybody I've ever collaborated with. This next album has no features, but it's only because I wanted to do that. I wanted to try that one. And I'm going to be hitting the road soon to perform, and I'm definitely going to get back up on that tour thing. And it's going to be hard to perform songs that nobody's there with me for. So I need one solo dolo. But we're out. Scully.
It's been Brodie Jaymz. My name is James Scully. We'll catch you on the flip side. Brodie, thank you again for sitting down with me. If you guys are curious, this podcast is dropping on October 15th, but this Monday, October 17th, the video portion of our interview will also be available on our YouTube pages, Brodie and mine, and also throughout social media. Reb, also, thank you. You've been a guest on podcast number 1. You showed up with Brodie on podcast number 26. And today, you did the video cutting behind us while we were shooting the interview. I really appreciate that. It's interesting because sometimes we have our head down in the clouds and we're just working and we're doing things. But you look back at a year ago, Brodie, Reb, Jason Adams, and I sat down and recorded Breaking Walls episode number 26. Now a year later, episode number 42. We've all grown. Everybody grows in a year's time. We all move on in our lives. We all move on to new things. We grow a little bit here and there, and that's a really good thing. And sometimes it's easy in a city like New York, for me personally, to be so head down, trying to pay my bills, trying to get some creative projects going, trying to do this and that it's easy to get lost in that kind of shuffle and not step back and say, wow, over a year's time, look at all the things that we've accomplished. It's always good to do that every once in a while, especially in a season like this. I talk about the autumnal things that I like to do, but the truth is that autumn is important because it's visually stimulating. The weather is such that you can go outside. It's still warm enough to do things. You're not right in that eternal winter darkness quite yet, but also it's a time of celebration. It's a time where we do things that make us feel like kids again, We bring our families together, we bring our friends together, and we remember that that's what life's about. It's not about getting up and going to work, or it's not about this and that. Those things are important. We got to keep a roof over our heads. We got to figure out what we're doing with our lives. We can't be kids forever, etc. But it's also, in my opinion, very important to remember that we're all creative beings and we all should be happy. We have a right to be happy. And remembering the little things that help us through life is a good way to do that, in my opinion. So like I said, and like Brodie said on the interview, you can find his links by searching for Brodie Jaymz on everything from YouTube to SoundCloud to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the usual stuff. You can also find his remixes page on SoundCloud as well. I'm noticing that it's hard for me to keep a regular schedule of when I can drop these podcasts because I'm recording them in my spare time. And I'm also having to coordinate interviews with people who are nice enough to give me their time. So what I'm going to do going forward is try to release between 2 and 3 podcasts a month, eventually have them set on a set schedule. Either they be the 1st, the 10th, and the 20th of the month if it's 3, or the 15th and the 31st, or the 15th and the 1st if it's 2. But no matter what happens, because I have another podcast or 2 coming this month that I want to bring to you, what I'm going to do is just give you guys as much notice as I can. Post stuff on social media saying, hey, coming this date, this podcast will drop, to give you guys a heads up. Because otherwise, if you don't know when these things are coming, I can totally understand why you wouldn't want to listen. Because you're just moving on and doing those things in your lives and forgetting about it. So I understand that totally. I'm going to try to give you guys as much notice as I possibly can going forward. And as you could probably tell by the speed at which I'm talking, I'm a little bit caffeined up right now. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start a Tuesday here in New York. And we're at a point in our time on this earth where we could step back and we could look at all the things that are going well for us. No matter what our headset is at this moment, it's important to remember and be grateful for all of the good things going on in our lives and not let things that frustrate us get to us too much, because then they just become the only thing that seems to be going on in our lives. I'm going to close this podcast by playing a track that I really love on Brodie's last LP, Dark Side of the Stars. It's called World on Fire. It features Jason Adams, who was a guest also on number 26 of Breaking Walls. It's a video that Brodie's pushing right now. He just released a video a couple of weeks ago. Definitely go check that video out. Tells a nice little story. This happens to be an awesome track. It's a good time of the year to play this. So at the end of this message that I'm giving, stay tuned for Brodie Jaymz and Jason Adams on World on Fire from Brodie's LP, Dark Side of the Stars. And you know how he's ending these things, guys. Keep getting out there. Keep breaking those walls. My name is James Scully. This has been Breaking Walls episode number 42. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you very much.
Let's party all night long. I'm down to break the dawn. Let's get wild. Girl, let's set the world on fire.
So what's up? It's a Saturday night. We're getting fucked up. We'll have the time of our lives. So raise your cups up to what we got. It's alright. Just have fun. Grab someone and set the world on fire.
I got a full cup of whiskey. I met a girl here tonight that put the S in the class and set the summer on fire. Oh yeah, she torched me. It was 10 p.m. on a Saturday at the bar scene. She was getting saucy. Oh Lord, please, the sun is rising. I'm just too drunk to be driving. I feel so alive. As long as we got love, it's everything that we wanna be. Got this dance floor in front of me, my lighter please. Start a fire, we got our world to entirely. Let's party all night long to get the love, and I'm down to break the dawn. Fill your cups, make a toast, girl, let's get wild. Girl, let's set the world on fire. Let's party all night long to get the love, and I'm down to break the dawn. Fill your cups, make a toast, girl, let's get wild. Girl, let's set the world
I
on
came to
fire.
party like a pop star. So dance, baby. Even if you can't, just raise your hands and take a chance later. Drop that for me, baby. Drop that for me. 'Cause we're alone in a room full of strangers.
Let's party all night long to get the love, and I'm down to break the dawn. Fill your cups, make a toast, girl, let's get wild. Girl, let's set the world on fire. Let's party all night long to get the love, and I'm down to break the dawn. Fill your cups, make a toast, girl, let's get wild. Girl, let's set the world on fire. Make a toast, girl, let's get wild. Girl, let's